Okay, guys, so we are in my backyard and we're going to be doing what?
We are going to be roasting a little bit of coffee from Papua New Guinea today. Let's see, parts and pieces. This is the drum roaster. I'll put the coffee into here and then place it into the roaster. And this is the chaff tray. This collects the skin of the coffee as it roasts. So we'll be placing that. Over in this direction is my homemade cooling tray because we're doing a dark roast.
Can we say ghetto or not? I love it. I love it. You made that?
I made that. It's a lot cheaper than trying to go out and buy one.
Oh, yeah, buying those spinning trays that do all the cooling.
No, that's just way too expensive.
Yeah.
Within the news groups, people sort of brag about their homemade cooling devices. So this works great. I just hook it up to the same shop vac that I use to clean up the mess.
Right.
So I get double usage out of it.
Nice.
I found an inexpensive little colander.
Right.
I put it on there, and you're good to go.
Everybody can steal this idea if you want. This is a great setup.
And I've left my wooden spoon at home, so we get to use this little miniature one.
The big Italian wooden spoon. I love that. And then we can go rowing afterwards.
We got the pond right here. So.
Exactly. Okay, so you're preheating it right now?
No, we're going to...
You want to pull the plug on the fountain or not yet?
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah, so we can hear everything you're saying and everything the machine's doing, the bottom one. There we go.
The first crack, you will definitely know it. That'll pick it up without any trouble.
Good. I want to get in close.
The second crack is almost... The first one you can compare to popcorn.
Yeah.
The second one is more like Rice Krispies.
Oh, okay, so it's very faint.
It's fainter and very rapid. It's like you lit off a string of firecrackers that...
All right, I can hear everything, so we're good.
I don't know if you can see inside
Well,
of
I can see it's getting red. Yeah, it's turning night. It's getting hot in there. Look at that.
And those are your ceramic heaters.
Right.
And when your chaff hits those, it starts to smoke. I don't recommend touching that at home.
And it's like a rotisserie?
It basically is like a small rotisserie. As a matter of fact, a lot of people
use their air fryer, huh?
Use their grill with a rotisserie unit.
My air fryer has a rotisserie basket just like that.
Oh, there's your first pop. You hear it?
Yeah.
Now what I've done is I've turned the heat down so there is less heat going into this particular portion of the roast.
Got it.
And I'm going to do that for a minute. And the popping should stop, and this is right around 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It'll slow up, and you'll get a couple of hours.
Started
at about 6.
Yeah.
Your first crack lasts for about 90 seconds, typically. There it goes.
So that's the beginning, what you started at, and then that's the dark roast. And does it really look darker than the rest? The dark
Yeah,
roast looks darker.
Next week when we do the tasting, I'll put
Yeah.
them side by side. I don't know if you can see it, but there is definitely an oily sheen.
Yeah.
Now, a light roast. What a light roast really is going to show you more of is where the bean is from, where it's grown, what altitude it's grown, what country it's grown in, the dirt that it's grown in. It's going to give you more of the flavor of what the bean is. As we approach the dark roast, we're going to lose the locality of the bean, but we're going to gain caramelization, chocolate, a little bit more sugars come out until we hit the second crack. And by the time you hit the second crack, you're going to pretty much lose the original flavors of the bean or where it's from. From second crack on, it loses those, and it...
You've lost all of us at the table.
No, I like it. It's almost biblical. It's not what it starts at, it's what it ends up as.
And you said you like the Central American coffees. A Honduran tea is very different from a Guatemalan tea. Is very different from a Costa Rican. But you really only detect those differences in a light roast. As you approach the darker roast, you lose those subtleties. You gain more sugars, more chocolates, and as you go past the beginning of the second crack, you add, char is not the right word, but it is the right word, which is a very American natural flavor. We're used to drinking overcooked coffee. Where do you get the bigger caffeine charge from a light roast or a dark roast? Well, the answer to the question is yes, you're sort of right. If you're a scoop person where you scoop the coffee into the grinder or you scoop your grinds into the pot, you're going by volume and not by mass or weight. In that case, you are really getting a little bit more caffeine to light. And the reason for that is a light roast is a denser coffee. So you're going to get more bean in a light roast by scoop than you are a dark roast, because a dark roast puffs up, gets more volume, but less mass.
That's interesting.
But if you go by weight, 17 grams of light and 17 grams of dark, and it's the same bean, it's going to be the same caffeine content. The caffeine is in your green bean to begin with, and you really can't change that. In pursuit of the perfect cup, there are six minor things and one major thing that has to do with you finding your perfect cup. First is the bean, then the roast, the grind, the water, the extraction method, the ratio, and then the most important is your own personal taste. So it's what you like that really counts. But you can chase that.
Was there a trivia?
That was the trivia.
It's an
Well,
informative.
You gave me the answer. I was ready to guess.
Okay.
My taste.
Find one. Okay, here we go. This one is a question trivia.
All right.
What is the country that produces the most coffee in the world?
Africa?
That is not a country.
Oh, that's it. Okay, no. Hold on a minute.
What is the largest? What is the country that produces
New York.
the most coffee?
I would say probably like...
It's in Africa.
When you say produces, grows the most coffee?
Grows, sells, exports. The number
I would
one
say
coffee
Colombia.
producing country in the world
Colombia.
is.
Right? So
Okay,
it's
we
a
got
Colombia.
Colombia.
Yeah, that's what would be my guess, yeah.
You're Colombia also?
Yeah.
All right.
I feel like it's a trick question.
Right?
It is
Like, I
It
want
is.
to pick a country.
He
based
really
on-
meant a continent.
I'm like, is it Brazil because we're talking about surface area of the country? Is it India because we're talking? Is it? I feel
No,
like
it's-
it's going to be a trick question.
Okay, in dollars, who exports the most amount
Oh,
of coffee?
Colombia, for sure.
We were talking about coffee.
She's thinking.
It's going to be something weird.
No,
They
it's
gotta
a very
bag it all
straightforward
around, that's
question.
why.
Just go with what you think
Oh, I
it
feel like
should
it's a
be.
trick. Like it's going to be
Just
like
answer!
It's not going to explode on you.
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
I don't
Costa
know.
Rica?
Colombia. I'm going to go with Colombia.
Colombia.
No, it's Brazil. Is the largest.
Oh, I knew it!
But you're wrong.
But,
surface
okay, wait a
area.
second. But Who is the second largest?
Colombia.
Colombia.
No, now it's
Colombia.
gonna be a tiny country. Now it's gonna
New York.
be, it's gonna be small.
It's Vietnam. Where does coffee originate from?
The ground.
Very good. Okay, we can move on from that.
Oh, so we're drinking potatoes?
Yes.
Oh, yummy.
Oh, that's another
It's
good
not a
question.
tree. It's in the dirt like potatoes.
So where does coffee come from? Where did it originate from? Where's the first place they made coffee?
McDonald's?
All coffee that you drink today originated in Ethiopia.
Ethiopian
Coffee's-
coffee.
Ethiopia, they've traced records back to about 1000 AD. There's a story in there about a goat farmer seeing a goat dancing, but I won't go into that. You can watch that one on the internet. But at some point,
So the goat drank coffee's her dancing or something?
the goats were chewing on the coffee beans, so the story goes. The seeds, the cherries. Because your coffee is not beans. Your coffee are cherries, and what you're drinking are roasted cherry pits. So they found out that they could get a little bit of energy boost.
Right.
And over time, the coffee beans and the coffee plants were taken over to Yemen, right across the Red Sea there. And so Yemen is the first place that they started really brewing coffee, roasting it and brewing it with water. And it was the first place that it was exported out of a little port called Mocha. Now, jumping forward several hundred years, when the Dutch decided that they would borrow a few coffee plants, they went over to the East Indies to plant coffee to see if they could roast it. Because up to that point, coffee was fully controlled by Islam,
Right.
the Muslims. And so they wanted to get and grow their own coffee. So they went over to the East Indies and they grew it and they started exporting their coffee through a port called Java.
Oh, this is where all this originates from.
I didn't know that until I read this stuff.
That's crazy.
There are more than 2,000 varieties of coffee beans that can be found in Ethiopia today.
Wow.
But all of the coffee around the world, they can trace all the way back to Ethiopia.